Hi. You might have already started to think about possible ideas for this project, even as soon as you were presented with this MOOC's theme. And that's okay. While from a methodological viewpoint, you should probably first fully understand the problem you're trying to solve or the opportunity you're trying to create before jumping into solutions, designers often start thinking about solutions early in the process as a way to help them understand the problem. If you do already have some ideas in mind, that's great. Make a note of them, sketch them out if you want, then you can put them aside to come back to it later. When people talk about generating ideas, they will probably be thinking about creativity. We are not going to go into the debate here on how creativity should be defined, but in this context, we can see it as something that is both novel and useful. By novel, we mean the development of something that is, to a greater or lesser extent, different from previous ideas. So that leads to something new. And useful simply means that rather than just being a novelty, this new thing can be effectively used by, and thus has value to, someone, to society. So where do ideas come from? Well, they'll come from you. But you can find inspiration to devise those ideas in different places. By now you have, hopefully, a good understanding of the problem you're trying to solve within the theme morning rituals. Imagine you're interested in developing something that helps people to have a healthy breakfast, but most importantly, not to skip it, as some people do. Now, in light of the changing food trends in the last few years and the need to save time, you could be asking, how might we rethink this interaction, activity, or ritual and design something that makes life easier? Most designers find it helpful at this stage to start making notes or rough sketches of what the new thing could do or look like. This is not about drawing skills, but rather you putting your ideas on paper, if you like. Somehow, representing those thoughts visually will help you to more easily build upon previous ideas and increase the chances of finding interesting connections. What's important here is that you find a way to externalize your ideas and somehow start representing them by using any means you like, through drawings, text, building simple mock-ups, and so on. Now, in very simple terms, you have two styles of approaching this ideation phase. You can either have a main idea that you explore in detail for a period of time until, hopefully, you make it work, or you can think of a variety of different or interconnected ideas that you quickly record, capturing the essence of each one, but not spending too much time on the details. Here in Delft, we have a tendency to favor the second approach, where you diverge while devising many different ideas and then, at some point, converge into groups of ideas, followed by some possible merging, combining, and elimination of such ideas, until ultimately you arrive at a very reduced number of ideas you plan to bring forward and turn into design concepts. To help you make decisions during the convergent phase, you should use the list of requirements you developed in week 3. This should help you identify which ideas have the potential to meet your requirements and which ones can be discarded. By now you might be thinking, okay, but how do we create those ideas? Again, here in Delft, we don't think, as some people do, that you can wait for inspiration and creativity to strike. We believe that you can have more control over this process. So you can work towards developing more creative ideas and find inspiration in unlikely places. One way to start working on developing those ideas is to use a particular method or combination of methods to support you along idea generation. Selecting the right method, though, could be a hard task. Creativity methods exist in large numbers, and they can range from informal bits of advice to complex procedures. There's a wide diversity of approaches, but there's also quite a lot of overlapping or even repetition between them. To make things more difficult during this ideation phase, the creative process itself is not without challenges. In fact, there's a few counterproductive situations that may sabotage your creative efforts. One such situation is that you could become stuck. at some point in your idea generation process. You find yourself in a frustrating situation where you feel like you're not going anywhere. You think you cannot overcome a certain problem or come up with a really good idea. Some methods will help you cope with that by, for instance, encouraging you to look at things differently or drastically changing your way of working. Sometimes the simple action of putting your work aside and engaging in another unrelated activity for a while might help you to later come back to your design work already looking at things with a different lens. In research, we call this incubation. To sum up, there are different ways to generate ideas, but we suggest a thinking approach that involves you diverging onto as many ideas as you can and then critically converging into a narrow selection you feel happy with. Lastly, creativity is about the generation of new ideas, alternatives and possibilities, and this is what we're striving for this week. Good luck!